Send me to hell, Jason. I'm here to return the favor. I'm feeling strange, trapped in the grave. All alone, I rot in my own skin. So serious I say, a choking restraint. The perfect plane lays down my own name. Girls rising. Girls rising. The scars remain, a deeper to see. A blood field, blinded resource. From here I cling to the ones that remain. Exile without reason. The time to catch the feelings we feel this way. Someone is clear to blow. We're building the power, strengthening the arm. And building the wall. Welcome to your demonstration.
People and things of there like something.
What the fuck is going on, everybody? Here we are, rocking and rolling. We're back. Boys are back in town, as the cool kids say. What do you think about that?
I think it's cool. I think we're cool kids.
I'll rock that rumor.
Yeah, we're cool kids. Somebody's got to say it. We might as well be the ones. Yeah.
We're all wearing hats.
Well, three of us.
Except for the unidentifiable one.
Although he does have a new mic. He was very excited about that. Zach?
Wow, I do.
Yeah. He can't wear a hat. He needs the vision for the art.
Before we get rolling, Jay, Diabolical Soul Studios, the Gooch will be joining us. He's going to be running a little bit late, though, so it'll be good to have him back on the show. Looking forward to that. But before we get around here, we got Paul here with us, rocking and rolling as usual. We got the cutest little guy here, Sean Arndt. Sorry.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Next I can, motherfucker.
Dude,
I love it. And of course, Zach down there rocking and rolling. What are you drawing for us tonight, Zach?
I am drawing Haunt.
Oh,
we're
trying to, Sean's been, Paul's been asking if we're catching up on some stuff. Now I'm just trying to figure out a nice post for this one.
Oh, all right. Looking forward to
Juan's
that.
the best, man. He's the coolest.
Yep.
He's the
most. He does have a sick design.
He's the most superhero character in the Spawn universe, and I like it. So
yeah. I gotta say, I always liked him. I never really read the book when it was out. It just came out at a time when I wasn't really collecting comics. But I always thought the design was cool. But he's quickly becoming really, really one of my favorites, especially after I've been touching a little bit into the Scorch, trying to dive into that a little bit. So yeah,
I thought you would have just picked that up on the low just because of Capullo.
Well, again, it came out though when I wasn't collecting comics. So, like I was out of comics I didn't even know about it until after it was done. So it was like years went by when they were like, "Have you ever heard of the Haunt?" And I was like, "I have no idea what that is." And it's like Greg Capullo. I was like, "What? When did you do that?" So yeah, I got collected. I gotta get
I was like really obsessed with Ryan Otley stuff, and then I saw that pop up like when I was looking at his like past catalog, and I was like, "Oh, this looks fucking awesome, dude!" I was like, I couldn't believe it. It wasn't bigger than what it is, honestly, like just for the people that did it and like who wanted to write it, like Robert Kirkman, Todd McFarlane. It's like,
I wonder if it's just the time that it came out.
Yeah,
the era or the whatever, that maybe it just didn't click for something with sales. I don't know, but it is definitely cool, particularly when Greg took the book over. From what I've seen, I haven't seen all the issues, but I thought that really took over stylistically. And I like Ryan Otley, I do. But when I compare the two runs, I definitely enjoy Greg's run a lot better. It's just for the art.
Is that 3 and 4? I think I only read 1 and 2, the hardcovers. Like, I mean, the trades.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to get on that.
Yeah, Otley did up to 5, and then Greg took over up to like 18 and 19.
Okay, got it. Okay, so maybe it was. But they did try to draw in a similar, like, it kind of all, I don't know, unless I missed it. I don't have the first trade up there, but I felt like it all kind of looked the same. So if he started on the second trade, that's weird. But
so let me ask, the tendrils that go all over the fucking place, is that pretty much the symbiote, like the symbiote equivalency?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I've gathered. Yeah. Because it's kind of a cool combination between what Spider-Man, Venom / Carnage, and Spawn all kind of wrapped up together as one character.
Yeah.
from what I've
So
seen.
is this Todd's variation of this, or is this Greg Capullo? Because like I see Spawn as a mix of like elements of Venom and stuff like that. Because Todd helped create Venom. He helped do a lot of the basic foundations to help with Spider-Man, all that stuff. So you can see elements in that in Spawn. So I'm wondering, is Haunt that Greg Capullo equivalency to that shit?
Nah, I think Todd did the whole designs of it, and then kind of based off like what he wanted. Because Greg did all the layouts, like from 1 to 5, and then
Okay.
Ryan
he
got
laid it out.
Yeah, Ryan got
Oh, okay, I didn't know
overwhelmed
that.
for doing Haunt and Invincible at the time, even though the schedules were very relaxed.
Oh, okay,
He's like he dipped out at 6, which was going to be a buffer for Greg to do, and then like 7, Greg was full time.
okay, all right. I actually did not know that. We'll dive into it one of these days, though. I want to check it out and get more into it. Before we get rolling, though, I'll say hey to the chat. Number 1 in the chat, number 1 in the chat, Mr. Mark Penguin, rocking and rolling, followed quickly by Hail the Lord. Those are usually always our first 2 in the chat. Great to see you guys. Got Dennis Kelly in the house. Hail King Spawn.
Oh, hell yeah.
And we're going to learn some stuff tonight, or I'm going to learn some stuff, because I'll be straight up honest with you. I was not reading this title. This is the first time I kind of dove into it. I'm a little lost. And so these fellas right here are going to fill us in. We got Pizza in the house. Great to see you, brother. Member of the channel, Rick Saylor's rocking and rolling with us. Member of the channel, Cosmic Studios as well.
Yeah.
Void Eyes, what's going on? Great to see you. Thank you for being here. Very, very talented. One of our very, very talented chat member artists in the house, YSA. Hail to all, working, so I can't watch at the moment, but know that I am thinking of all of you.
We're thinking of you too.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Well, you know what I do. A good friend of mine I haven't seen in a while. Where you at, Matt? What's going on, brother? Let's going back to my band days.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, one-time member of my band right before we ended up breaking up. But yeah, this dude is a phenomenal bass player.
Very cool.
Also a very great songwriter. Great to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. And we got
Fabrizio.
Okay, I was like, somebody else take it because I'm going to butcher it. Evening to you. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you guys. Welcome to the Spawn Review, episode 18. We're going to be looking at King Spawn. I say 38, but we're actually going to cover 37 and 38.
Yes.
Just the 2 issues that I've read, the latest ones, and we're going to dive into it. These 2 guys are going to kind of fill us in on the story, what's going on as we go. So I'm going to hit this video. I'm going to let it play. And then
But before you do that, bring up what I sent you from Dan.
Where's it at? In your messages?
Yeah, I sent it to you on Twitter, our messages.
On Twitter.
Oh, did you? When did you send it to me? Oh, you did?
Thursday?
Oh, yeah. See, this is why you're here.
All right,
and then I sent it to myself so I could actually pull up the tweet so we can get into it. All right, yeah.
It'll be quick. Don't worry. We're not going to drag this out, but it's pretty funny.
Oh, we're going to drag it out. Don't you worry. I'm going to close my DMs so we don't dox anybody there. Okay, yeah, I forgot about this. This was actually pretty cool. Sean sent this to me the other day. A little inside information, a little behind the scenes, some fun stuff when it comes to. All right, here we go. All right, so go ahead and explain what's going on here.
So Dan called me up. Dan Kemp, legendary colorist, coloring Type 1. Don't be a bum. Back Type 1.
That's
he
right.
Colored Spawn for a majority of Capullo's run. Phenomenal, great guy. He's like family to me. So he calls me up. He's like, "Hey man," I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "I got something for you." I'm like, "You got my pages?" He's like, "Ha ha ha, yeah, later." But he's like, "Look at this," and I'm like, "Oh shit!" And it's in the backdrop. He spliced in pictures of Vanilla Ice. And,
look at that.
This Spawn Twitter page had gotten it because he posted on the Facebook group. And he's like, "Yeah, man, he must have gotten it from Facebook. He got like 200 likes." Sorry. That's how he talks. He's a stoner. He's like, I'm like, "Yo, tell me all about it. Like, I've been wanting to actually know about this type of shit that you guys do." He's like, "Oh, yeah. So I would just put in like stuff on the side, just on the slide, just for my own shits and giggles." And I'm like, So what Todd think? He's like, "Oh man, Todd was pissed." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, he just got sued by Tony Twist, and he didn't want to get sued by ICE, so he was mad. And he's like, he was so pissed, he didn't even put my name in the credits. I was like, oh shit. He's like, yeah, it was hilarious. I was doing stuff like that all the time.
That's funny.
He's like, if you think that's funny, you know the fat guy from the reporter? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's all me. I'm like, you're a fat guy? He's like, nah. He's like, all the words. I just listen to what people say that I know that are kind of weird, and I put it in there. And he's like, if you look at the newspapers that are just randomly laying out, like this one, perhaps, like Sosei is a famous Japanese hardcore band that I'm into. It's called X Japan. You should really listen to it. I'm just like, what the fuck? And he's just going into all these tidbits, and he's like, you should do this for your podcast. They will love it. I'm like, I just so happened to do a podcast with Joey about Spawn. He's like,
Dude.
perfect.
We got to get Dan on. Dan and Dave on one.
Bro, the fact that I wasn't stoned to hear that, I was just like sober. Oh,
so yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
He's but one quick last funny note, but like, you know how all the news reporters are essentially just the same all the time, but just kind of recolored.
Yeah.
He would get that like flat file and then just like adjust hues and maybe put pinks or purples or whatever. He's like, I would just adjust it and switch it up because it was the same page. I'm like, I knew that.
Is smart to do, and that just makes me feel like an idiot. Each one of my books is just a different post. That would.
Oh no, copy and paste.
Right, yeah,
copy
that
and
would've
paste. Yeah, copy and paste.
But I'm paying the same rate anyway, so I might as well just get some.
Well, yeah, true.
No,
Yeah.
I get you. Yeah. So that's
that
a little
is
bit
smart. You saying that, I'm just like, fuck, dude, like fuck.
Yeah,
dude, that's fucking hilarious, though, man. I did not know that. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love the behind the scenes aspect of it. And again, we've talked, Sean and I have getting him on any of our shows, you know, whether it's a Spawn review, out and stuff or whatever, but just trying to dive into like the behind the scenes stuff, because that's what we live for when we talk to these guys that we idolized growing up and they were in the industry that we loved. We're like, give us the behind the scenes, you know, all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, I got some stuff that we could chit to chat about for next week as well. Just, you know, do like little segments like this.
Little
kind of
snippet. You gave us.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Wrinkle it in a little bit. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Vanilla Ice's picture in it. I can't believe they keep reprinting that.
It's just funny because
he said they took them out though, so I haven't seen a reprint. I don't have the big omnibus.
What issue was it?
61.
Like 60 something.
60 something of that era.
Honestly, dude, like what's funny is that he's not the only one that does shit like there's so many artists, there's so many who tries to like pencil in innuendos and subliminal like little, you know, things what he does, like Dan does, and they don't it's not until now that they actually like they mention, they talk about it, because you can get fired for that easily.
Right. And he's like, me and my brother are the pioneers of that stuff.
This cover, it's kind of like an animated style, and like I know Rob Liefeld posted a while ago, he was doing like a little animated video of his characters. Like, I'm surprised Todd doesn't do like, even with this, like it looks so animation that you can give us like a 10-second snippet,
right?
Because that looks insane. I got the same cover. It was the best one by far.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up.
That cover, right?
61, 62. All right. Anyway, yeah. So this cover, what we're looking at right now is King Spawn 37.
Awesome.
I can't remember what the other cover was, but you know, I usually judge. There's two covers on the shelf, and I don't get both of them. So I usually judge them like, all right, which one do I like better? You know, like I just thought this had a cooler, you know, appeal to it. You know, I like the violence, you know, right up in your face, kind of like this 3D effect of the head flying at you, the severed head. So I thought this was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I would love to see it animated. I hope they do something like that with this. And then, King Spawn, you know, we were saying before, this is basically like the more like in-depth things of Spawn that like wouldn't need to be filling up the Spawn pages is King Spawn. It's like the best. Yeah. It's the best way to put it.
Okay, so King Spawn started shortly after what, issue 300?
Yeah.
No,
after
like
a year or so.
About that.
No, it was like it was when issue 303, 305 started coming around, is when the announcement of the Spawn universe came to be, which at the time nobody knew what the fuck he was talking about. And then that's when like titles were dropping. You're like, Oh, okay. Like I get it. But
And
that
usually I
expansion.
don't like a splash page that's just the head like that, but I thought it was so cool. Like it's just
Yeah,
like
that's
a nice,
great.
like just like fierce.
When it comes to me and splash pages, as long as it looks cool and it fits the
Yeah.
story, I'm good. Whether it's just a head or like just crazy detailed stuff. I remember one of the coolest splash pages I think was in X-Men 2, where Jim
Oh,
Lee just
Magneto?
drew the Magneto face, and that's it,
Yeah.
just this intimidating face with his helmet on it, and it's just that's all it was. The head of Magneto. It was pretty badass.
I gotta say, this artist is one of the better artists that I personally that appeals to me. Like there's been a bunch of artists that are very talented, but it's more like that. Not really Ashley Wood, but that artsy fartsy type of like art school, stuff that's like not in like our caliber. But this
Yeah,
guy does a really good job. His gestures, his storytelling, some of his techniques,
I
top notch shit.
I feel like I'm not going to call it a house style, right? Because I think only uh, regular Spawn title with Brett Booth has that feel to it. Every other title has this kind of feel to it. Scorched, King Spawn. I can't
It's
remember
a little
who.
more grittier. It's a little more grittier than
Yeah,
Scorch, but yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, right. But it's not the like traditional. Like we talk about Brett Booth having more of that traditional kind of comic book art style, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
why most of us like it so much. And then this is kind of a little bit more. I don't even know what you would call it. It's not bad by any means. It's not necessarily my style that I go
It's
out and like,
definitely
but
more indie vibe.
that could be, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's something I liked it. And it was entertaining enough to read the story, and it didn't put me out of the story because I'm a big judge of art. Like if the art can't be entertaining for me, it's hard for me to get into the story. But this so far, Scorched, King Spawn, Gunslinger, the main titles of Spawn have been really good at just keeping my interest. And this art was pretty good. I dug it. I
Yeah, I
Yeah.
liked
liked it.
it. All right, so explain what's going on here in the scene or in this book specifically, because we jump from we've been covering the main book. We're going to start diving into the Scorch, King Spawn, Gunslinger as we go to try to just get it all together in the Spawn review. Admittedly, this is the first time I've actually dove into King Spawn. I bought the first issue when it came out, collected it for a little bit, never read it. And so now I'm diving into it. And I was completely lost, coming from the main story and everything. I'm diving into this. I'm reading. I'm like, I have no idea where the hell we're at, what's going on, who these characters are. Why is Spawn have a different costume than he does in the main book? We see his face in this, where his face is hamburger face, and the main book. I'm like, what is going on? So can you guys just kind of explain what the hell is going on with that and what we're dealing with in this particular scene as we go through these next two books?
That's
Coming
actually
off
a
of
very
350.
smart assumption. I forgot that his face is different from this book
Yeah.
and the other book.
It threw me
Yeah.
off. I was very
Yeah.
confused.
He coming off of the 350, like they lost their powers. Grandma Blake got kidnapped, so that pissed him off.
Yeah.
And the vampires took him. So like he was out for blood. Like he fucked up their shit. Is he looking for the cure of vampirism in here as well?
No,
Like,
so he's basically there's the main vampire guy's blood.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get to him. But at the same time, they're doing all the different factions. And this faction that's here, these are angels. He's fighting angels.
Right. Yes. Yep.
So these are angels that lost their powers, and they all grouped up into this base headquarters. So basically, if someone that is super enhanced comes, there's so many of them that they would win. So that's why Spawn is there with Cygor, who's basically like 6 people, and then just causing havoc.
The scene is pretty cool. Like it's a really fun action scene. I think Todd did a good job of writing, some fun things within the story. But yeah, so my thought and my question is this you say that King Spawn is like the side stories, if you think of
Side
like back
quest.
in side quest, yeah. If you think back in the day with like the Amazing or the Spider-Man titles, right? They had different storylines per different title that were running. And so I can kind of see what Todd's doing in that aspect where it kind of all runs together, but it also can stand on its own. Is this current though? Or is this kind of like what happened between the time that we didn't see in the main title from 350 to 351, where we had the 2 months, where they haven't covered it for us for the fans in the main title? Is this current or is this kind of like what happened at that point?
I think this is before the recent fight that's in Spawn, because I'm assuming from what happens, we're not going to spoil it yet, the end of the next issue, that's going to play a part in one of the newer issues. Maybe.
Okay.
You know, I could be wrong. So
Yeah, that was just my confusion. You know, like trying to jump into it from cold turkey, so to speak. I was, some of it resonated. Yeah, we're talking about blood. We're talking about the vampires. And I get the whole thing, but then like this character, this kid that he's going after, this younger man he's going after in this to get to this tycoon dude that he's feuding with. I had no idea who that character was or how long he's been around for or what he even has to do within the overall story arcs,
Dude, hold on. I just gotta say, I think this is fucking dumbass stupid. Like, I love it that Cygor takes him by his feet.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's just whipping him around, and he's just fucking blattering him. Like,
so cool.
yo, my dumb bone was so tickled. Like, I LOL,
Oh,
like
facts.
laugh out loud. Like, it was awesome. I was like, that's
Absolute
fucking
facts, yeah.
funny as shit.
Like it was creative, and it's kind of
Yeah.
comical when he like takes him and just like throws him right down in his face before he lifts him up and spins him around. It's like, and I, Todd even says you kind of use it as like a Gatling gun.
Yeah.
Just going around, just wasting all these angels. So it's kind of like the what is it, the fastball
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
special
yeah.
in X-Men, except a little bit modified.
The ankle hitcher.
And the angels are aligned with the vampires, but the angels are only aligned with the vampires because they want to be like not killed, and they want their angels' objective is to get Al Simmons and give them to the vampires.
Mhm.
Okay.
So like that's at least their objective, and they basically just like walked into it, and he knew everything going in hand on like how's it going to go down. So
see, I'm like there's like just reading all this shit, like there's so much of it. Like I thought like when this came out, like after 350, I thought he was looking for the cure of vampirism as well. Like I just must have been really high and thought like this and shit merged in.
They mentioned it because he was trying to heal Eddie, right?
yeah, the
Like
Reaper.
so, yeah. So he mentioned that in one of the issues back, like 3 or 4 issues back, that's what he's doing. So I like this issue. Like it was fun, interesting to jump into and just kind of try to figure out what the hell was going on. It's fun action,
He's tight that they took the grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to clean house. It's just about killing all the guys that want him dead, regardless, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is I didn't read issue 37. I read 38. That was me jumping right back into Kingspawn and whatnot. So that's why I didn't. When you said Paul, you're like, oh, so you didn't read issue 30. And didn't read it. I was like, nah, I read issue 38.
Fucking stoner.
Well, that's I said what we wanted to do on this show was we've been heavy into covering the main Spawn title with Brett motherfucking Booth. And I was interested enough to be like, well, let's start covering some of these other books since we do have a show called The Spawn Review. But I'll be honest, I wasn't reading King Spawn. I wasn't reading The Scorched. I had stopped reading Gunslinger after Brett left the book. So I was kind of going in a little, cold with a lot of these books. But I do know that Paul and Sean were reading all the stuff and could at least bring us up to date and kind of fill us in a little bit. By the way, chat, if you guys have any questions about what's going on, if you guys aren't reading this or are reading it, definitely jump in and we'll address it. But this is kind of more for my journey, like I want to get caught up. I started buying some of the back issues of King Spawn to try to go back and get caught up a little bit. Did the same thing with The Scorched. But this is kind of my way of like, bring me up to speed about what's going on so I can at least have an idea of what we're up against here reading this brand new issue.
King Spawn wasn't my favorite, like out of all of them. But once this new run came out, like I'm in. Like they twisted shit. I think I like this a lot better than Gunslinger right now. But yeah, man, it's taking me to some cool places. Like I just think this is fucking dope.
Thought it was a great jumping on point for new readers. You see the mission. The mission is we have to kill the angels.
Mm-hmm.
They kill the angels and capture the guy, and then we're on the next issue.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this:
the previous issues.
Okay.
Look at that Batman homage on top.
Let me ask you this: was
Yeah.
Billy Kincaid addressed in King Spawn then? Because me not reading King Spawn and just jumping on later
in
on
the first few issues,
panel or two, I get confused sometimes between the Spawn books and this.
Okay.
But,
the first few issues, he was a plot point for it. He was around.
Yeah.
Okay, because like he pops in at like Spawn issue like 306, 307 as like a splash page reveal that he's like a mastermind as well. and he's
Yeah.
been hoarding a whole army, like legion of demons and shit. And I'm like, what? Like, so I always wanted to see more of that. Just didn't see it in regular Spawn.
No, it was in the first few months. It was the first arc. What's up, Don?
You got
But it
member
was
of the
like,
channel
okay.
Don in the house. What's going
It
on,
was like-
brother?
like,
So look
damn,
at these
now I
morose
gotta, like,
motherfuckers
collect
right
that.
here. Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Wow.
Bunch of Spawn simps. Yes, sir. You know what's up?
Yeah.
You know what's up?
I too, Brad.
Yeah, well, the same thing with me. I'm far behind on all that stuff. I wanted to do the show. I want to get guys around me that been following it longer than I've been following it, so we can, bring me up to speed. Because we say at every show we do that this is probably one of the first times in a long time that I've been this excited to go to the comic shop every month. They pick up the new titles of anything, and Spawn has definitely been it. And now I'm getting more excited to go in and check out these other titles that are going in the big four, right? The big four titles that are in the Spawn universe. I had to pick this up, and originally I wasn't going to do 38 because 38 just dropped last week, and typically we like to let like a week go before we look at the newest issues. But I have to say that I saw this cover by Jonathan Galipian, and I gotta say that I'm quickly becoming a big fan of his art. Like I always liked his inks, right? But like I'm actually starting to dig his art. I'm very excited and thrilled for the what is it? No Home Here.
Yeah,
That's coming out in is it January?
That's what Thomas said. Yeah.
Yeah, January. Okay, I'm excited for his book coming out. His art looks sick, so I had to pick up this cover. Just shout out to him. I was like, it has nothing to do with the book. And that's the thing we talk about the covers on Spawn a lot. Like they don't really have anything to do with what's going on in the inside. But damn, this was just a hot ass cover when I saw it on the shelf.
Dude, didn't they announce that book back in like summer 2022? Like,
No Home Here.
Yeah.
Has it been that long?
I think so. Like, granted, like this is Jonathan's first, back as an illustrator, a full book. So sure, give him the time was probably needed and necessary to get this type of art. Yeah. But like, damn, because I was still living in Delaware for that San Diego, and I'm like, oh shit, about time.
Right.
Delaware, ew.
Fuck
Look
you,
who we got
Delaware's
in the
awesome.
house, everybody.
No, it's I was from I lived Delaware for like
Where?
close to a
Where?
year.
Williamton? Yeah, the ghetto.
No,
Fuck that.
No. I was in Dover, Delaware.
Oh, fuck that. Dover's just about worse, man. Go to fucking Lewis, the beach
like
area.
Gang warfare going on right now. We got the Gooch in the house, everyone. What's going on?
What's up?
Wow,
What's up, everyone? So
look
sorry
at
I'm late.
us.
I'm really sorry.
Kept us waiting, bro.
We had a
missed
clock
issue.
going on how long.
This is my 5th stream, so like
Today?
Yes.
Excuses.
And since
So what? Why are we getting fucking second nature?
you were.
Are we fifth?
It's like I was gonna be here. Oh, never mind. All I could say is I hate King Spawn right now.
Thanks for coming, Jay. Nice to see you.
The last time we had him on, it was all right, man. Let's let me bring it back to the book.
I'm definitely voting for Trump to close the borders on this guy.
You didn't like
No,
that
first person
Igor
to say
last
that.
issue?
Tell us about it. Yeah, let's talk about it real quick. But before we jump into issue 38, which is the newest issue.
Did you read 37?
I read 37, hated it. It was like just a trope. Didn't
Why
care
didn't you
for
like
it.
it?
It's just a tropey book. It's nothing new. It's I didn't care for it. 36 was even worse. I hate that artwork. I hate.
I haven't read.
Damn,
I shouldn't say
dude.
hate. I shouldn't say hate. I dislike.
Strong words, man.
Jason, what's his name? Sean Alexander. That's what.
Yeah.
I just don't. It doesn't resonate with Spawn. It just doesn't work for me. It just throws me off. The writing for these last 2-3 books is just vanilla. I just don't care for it. It's kind of regurgitated material, to be honest. I just now what I did like was this guy's book. I just read this guy's book and it was
Pulse.
good. Yeah.
Shout out.
That took me by surprise.
Thank you.
I just having a hard time with King Spawn. It started off great. I was loving everything about King Spawn, and then I would say after 33, 34, it just kind of went sideways, and I just don't care.
We were just saying from a new consumer perspective that it was a good book to pick up if you've never had them before, because it is a beginning of something new in a sense.
Dawn. Okay, first of all, Dawn. It's all sorted out. memberships are up and running. You can buy a membership.
All right, good.
We had over 100 bought yesterday, last night, late night, so it's all good.
God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah,
And
look at
so I just like with this material, I like what's going on with the Spawn series.
Yeah.
Rat City makes me want to vomit. I
I'm done with
dislike
that.
everything. I hate everything. I hate everything about that series. Terrible writing. And
Keep
the
going,
art
Jay,
style
keep
for
going.
this. Yeah, I'm almost there. And this, I'm edging. This started off really hot, and now the artwork and the storylines are not very good. I don't know what's going on with Todd McFarlane and this series, but it's not hitting the mark.
If anything, this is his series right now.
Yeah,
I will-
and it's not. It's regurgitated material. I'm sorry.
I will say for me, and I said it before the show started, that this is the first time I'm reading King Spawn in general, and I actually like it because again, I'm a very simple person, simpleton when it comes to reading comics. Like I just want some
Mama says.
good fun entertainment, some action entertainment, and I dig it so far. So yeah, no, it's great to have these different opinions on and I had no idea what Jay thought of this book at all when we were going into it. Same thing with Rat City. So that's what that's what we do on this show. You know, it's good to have the great open debate. We're not just a simp show like Don said.
And
I hate that
the
talk
other
that way.
cover. So this is the cover B. I got the cover A. Well,
Yeah.
they only had the cover A's at the shop. This cover is nice, dude. This cover is nice.
Yeah, I had to grab this one. Like I saw this,
It's
I was
okay.
like, this has to be the one.
It's
This is
okay.
badass. You don't like this, Jonathan Glappian?
It's okay.
What?
Man.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Man,
Aren't you an
Don't-
artist?
hard to please.
Yeah. Yeah,
Tell
I'm
him,
just
dude,
like
tell him that
I'm
Project Nasus cover was a lot better. Tell him.
dude, that series is very fast paced and very exciting to read. So
Nice.
Dennis Kelly asked how many covers they did for 38. I think Thomas
Always two.
Keeley was saying, 2 for everything that they do. It's always just 2. The cover
Only
A,
the
cover
first
B.
issue they do like 5 or like 10 or something
Right.
when they go crazy.
All right, so picking up the story from the last issue, Al Simmons and Cygor have captured this dude. And what is actually going on with this scene? Like, what I know you said that the angels or whatever had messed with the old lady character, which I thought died at some point.
Yeah,
just run.
she's full throttle alive. And
Yeah.
then
Okay, interesting.
I'm pretty sure at least. And then that's the angel. That's an angel's son. So there's a more powerful angel that he's in charge of. I'm not good with names. Names are the ones that get me. But so they're just basically holding him as like blackmail so they can like get everything done that they need to get. Because instead of getting, Al Simmons, they have the son. So if he walks in there, which he's going to, they really can't do anything about it because, they have the son.
So he's got this for leverage, so to
Yeah,
speak, in
leverage,
this
yep.
war with whoever this angel guy is. 2 things I had question with. Who's this dude with the glasses?
No
Tinkerer,
idea.
they called him the Tinkerer in
They
this
call him
book.
the Tinker.
Yeah.
Because I don't read the book. I don't know who he is. I'm just like brand new character to me. I'm like, okay.
he's the
He
one
might have been
that
around.
he stitched up Al in episode or book 36, I believe, wasn't it?
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're adding a lot of new characters. Even this one, we're getting some new faces in there. So,
I mean, that's kind of cool with these side stories that you are getting these expanded universe characters and everything. It's just for me, it was kind of confusing coming from the main book, which is primarily the one I've been reading. And then diving into this, it's like, okay, I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. I don't know why Al has his face. I was trying to figure out why he's got his face in this book, but he doesn't have he's got the hamburger look in the main book.
Yeah, they haven't
I know.
said why. Like again, they haven't told us when the specific date that this has occurred. So I don't like Paul was saying, is it like here or there? So
yeah, because didn't they say it was 6 months? Remember, it was like 6 months.
Oh, 6
is
months.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like where they dropped us off in I think 351, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
this could be any. I'm assuming it's before, just based on the fact that he does have his face. He's in a different armor. You don't know where.
Right. Exactly.
There's no Cygor and there's none of that other girl. So
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of the players in this book are not in the main book at all right now.
yeah.
yeah, Notula.
So yeah, Notula.
The main book is the main.
The one thing that I
It's
don't
great.
understand about, especially a comic that's mature, is why do they bleep out
Right?
fucking? Like,
Yeah.
why is it like, why do they get rid of the one letter? You know what he's saying. They have an emphasis on it. But when I see that star in the middle, I'm just like, you know, like, it's
You know
just
what's
like,
funny? What's funny
give it to
about that is I had some people read my book and just for some feedback. And one of them that I was talking to was an editor writer that's in the industry, and he brought up the same thing because I did the same thing too. Like I've got swear words, but I bleep out the word fuck. But I do it with something similar to this, or I use different whatever you want to call those to take out the you or whatever. But you know what I'm saying. And he said that too. He's like, well, he's like, if you say it, like, why don't you just say it? And I was like, I don't know. It's the old school comic guy in me, that for some reason that's just a word you censor, and I get it, indie books and whatnot, you can throw it in, you can do whatever you want, especially with image or whatnot, but for some reason I think it's a visual thing for me. The reason why I did it in Reaper Destroyer is I bleeped out the F word, and maybe it's just an old school way of doing it. I don't know, but
I liked it. I'm sorry. It's the comic code. I mean, you can show the violence and everything, but like, I like the fact that you add the little asterisks and everything, and you bleep out.
Me too.
Yeah. I to me, it's just old school. I appreciate
that's
it.
what it is.
OG.
It's old school. Yeah. Yep. It's the old school vibe in it. So I don't mind it. I do get why some people like they ask that question of like, why not just do it? I'm like, I probably could, but I kind of like it.
I'm curious. You guys digging the art for this book?
I like this artist a lot better than what's been on the book prior.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't mind. Like I said at the beginning of the show, like this is not my typical art style that I like. When you compare it to Brett Booth, who's got the more traditional, in my opinion, comic book art style, right? And that's what I love. But the artists for this, the artists for Scorched, are good enough. Not bad. I don't ever want to say art is bad because it's subjective of what my tastes are. But it's good enough in my eyes for what can entertain me that I can get into the story. If the art was really bad, we wouldn't even be covering it because I just wouldn't be able to do it.
Here's the thing to that, Joe. We're talking about Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane's known for his incredible art. You're talking like Greg Capullo, Angel. We're
He's known for two guys.
Philip Tan. Like when it comes to Spawn, when it comes to like McFarlane, it should be top-notch art style. It should be.
Oh, I don't disagree.
In your face. So when I see this, it's like a very limp dick art style.
Damn.
It just doesn't hit. It does not hit for me. Like it's going cheap. I feel like they're getting these writers that are on the cheap, these artists that are on the cheap. I just don't care for what they're doing here.
Well, for these books, I mean, this is written by Todd. Gunslinger's written by Todd, that I know of still, I believe. The dude that's writing the main book, really like his writing style. I appreciate that. By the way, Kunt O'Hare is in the chat. Good to see you, as well as Dale A. Great to see you guys. Thank you for jumping in. We got Michael in here as well. Hells yes.
Nice.
Here for the limp dicks.
Well, guess what we got in store.
To me, when I break this down, so what's different about this show and like Aqua, where we go really heavy art, I look at this more or less like the overall package, right? And to me, the art not being my specific style, and I get what you're saying as far as like when you compare them to the names that have been on the history of the book. I say the same thing when it comes to any of the old Image books, Top Cow, Wildstorm. When you have those kind of stellar artists from that period of time, it's hard to live up to that quality, and it's just a different era nowadays. So what I look at, I'm like, okay, it's not really my style. Do I like it? Yeah, it's okay. It's not my favorite. Does it tell the story? Is a good storytelling, beats wise, angles, how it leads your eyes. And yeah, it hits it. Like the dude's a good storyteller when it comes to the art. Position wise, like I don't mind the dynamics. It's a little bit more of kind of like a realistic style compared to the exaggerated style that
before
Brett
you
would have.
skip this page,
you
gotta tell him. So I had a theory.
Go ahead.
That so they did this for a reason, because at first when I looked at these two pages, I was like, dude, why the why the fuck am we even getting these 2 pages, right?
Yes.
And,
yeah, I was confused again. Yeah.
But they set up a vampire and they kidnap this vampire. That's these whole 2 pages, and this pays off at the end. But I just wanted to establish that they took this vampire and they set him up, and maybe they could have got a bite in between here. Who knows? But yeah, keep these 2 pages in mind.
Okay, so overall in this story, this head angel guy who's feuding with Al Simmons, who has been threatening his family. Al Simmons went and got his kid, holding him hostage, and is basically trying to strike a deal to basically, if you move against me, your son's gonna die. All this kind of stuff. We go to this scene where Al Simmons is walking down the street without his costume. Again, I don't understand that. That was something that confused me.
Mhm.
And you gets jumped by this vampire, and yeah, they get this dude, and then we jump to this guy again. I don't know this character except for the fact that he owns some kind of corporation that has what hybrid style
Bounty hunters
that he lends out and doesn't lend out. They rents out, that people can buy out for like tons of money.
He reminded me of the guy from The Matrix that screws them all over.
Here's
that
the
could be,
thing
yeah.
about this series right now. They're trying to implement too many angles into this storyline, and you have no idea where the direction's actually really going and who's in the game. And to counter your statement earlier, for an industry that's kind of on death row right now, comics are not selling. Comic stores are closing. Like, you should have something that should be like kick-ass and everyone will want their get their hands on. And when you're promoting a series like outside of the Spawn, the series, this should be top notch, and they're not providing that. So that's my issue when it comes to this. Started off hot, but now it's fading, and I think it's fading because the sales aren't there, and you're getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So like, even this story, like, it's just kind of all over the map. I don't even care anymore. I just don't want to read this because it's kind of, like I said, all over the place.
Well, I'll say one thing. When we had Thomas on stuff a couple weeks ago or last week or whatever it was, I understand what they're doing with these titles, and like he said, they don't expect everybody to buy every single title, and you don't have to. If you just want to read the main Spawn book, everything is going to be there that you need to know for the story, right? And so some of these other titles are not required, and they're not trying to force people to buy them. As far as like, if you read the new Spawn's title, you have to read all the other titles before you come back to the next issue of Spawn to know what the hell is going on. They're not doing that. So they're really giving a variety of things for people to read and get into, which some like, some don't like, whatever. So I do respect that aspect of it, where they're not kind of trying to gouge you like what Marvel or DC would do. So in that aspect, I'm completely fine with it. And it gives us an idea where we can read Rat City and be like, wasn't my favorite, didn't really like it, main title, great, Scorch, I'm kind of getting into it, some of the other stuff, the other miniseries here or there, I like that they're doing that. I've got really no problem with it. And to me, I still think, even with the main title being the top, the trendsetter there, I still think that the rest of these titles are interesting and fun enough to start getting into, or at least I've been getting into them more than I thought I was going to.
It really does beg the question if Image is, and it's not because of the kindness of their fucking hearts, right, that they're charging $3 per book. It really does beg the question, like, why are they really, it's still $3, and if they're doing it for $3, then it just kind of like outs Marvel and DC. Like, all right, so you guys are charging $4, $5, and $8 for your issues because you guys fucking know you can.
Yeah.
And and it just kind of that rubs me off the wrong way.
Oh,
I would assume
Marvel has shareholders. There's a big difference.
I would assume this book sells 100,000 copies a month. I would assume.
Well, I have no idea on the numbers on that.
So ready? So now this
Yes.
is my backup.
Okay.
How much do we think the first issue of King Spawn sold? Just
I'm
the
not
first
sure.
issue.
I've not looked at any
First
numbers.
issue, I would say probably 40,000.
500,000 Hollywood Reporter.
I
King
have a
Spawn?
hard
King Spawn #1 sells 500,000.
I have a hard time believing that. There's
Wow.
no
no,
way.
no. I believe it because Jay, the man at that time, the man just hit record breaking 300,
Yeah, I can believe
301.
that.
So that whole
gotta
Todd
remember,
marketed the fuck out of
Dude,
that shit.
dude,
even though
So,
it's
500,000.
Batman just did
Batman.
250 on the fourth book that he just came out with. You know,
dude, I mean,
they're
Spawn
they're
was a
definitely-
fucking. I believe it. Spawn is a hot. He was on the hot list for titles to grab at that time. I believe it.
Over how long of a period? 500,000.
For a good.
No, but that's what
strong
I'm saying.
2
So
years.
if the best ever is 500,000, I would assume, and I'm pretty sure King Spawn sells the second best. To be
I would say
honest.
Gunslinger sells the second best.
I think Gunslinger when Brett was on it was probably one of the higher ones. You know,
Yeah.
but now that Brett's off of it, no offense to the artist that took over, but it's hard to follow Brett Booth.
You
It
could see
just
the
is.
trade sales too. Like I know they show that for like Amazon stuff, and I'm pretty sure this one sells the best. I got to double check though.
Well, we
But
gotta
I
remember
just
too,
looked that up because
sales.
I was curious because you can't find out anymore like what sells what unless they really announce it.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Whoa. Okay. It's 500,000 orders, not
Right.
sales. So
But
there's a big difference there.
that's the way it's always been though.
Yeah.
Like whatever the number is that the shops get, that doesn't the companies don't care what if the titles sit on the shelf or if they go into hands, and that's still sales for them because that's money that came in to be purchased. Now it's for the stores to be like, this title sells or it doesn't sell. I got a ton sitting on my shelf or sold right out, depending on whatever. So that number still counts for the amount sold, and that goes back to Marvel in the 90s. Like when
When
the
did this
shops were
come out?
buying shit.
When did number one come out?
Number one
years
came out in
back.
2021. I just looked it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious because I didn't know. I honestly didn't know how much because I know.
Do you know which month?
No, I'm not too sure, but I know sometimes the spawns I usually do always 100,000 too, though. So and I assume they're doing better now. In my opinion, I think they're
Spawn, the series Spawn, yeah. But
yeah,
there was also 8 covers for this book too. So
Well,
like,
I'm gonna, if I may, one of the biggest things that is
Well, it's a
highly
number one, yeah.
respected, where I can
I got like
really
4.
believe the numbers that like Paul is saying on top of like just in general. I can the Spawn and any of the other neighboring titles to his run is highly successful and it's still going very, very for them to keep selling at a $3 point is because
Yeah.
damn, I just lost my train of thought because all I have is hate Jay, Jay's hate. Keep going. It'll come. Yeah, it'll come back to me. It'll come back to
Well,
me.
while you're thinking of that, Paul has had a question of the artist. This is, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. You'll die. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I'm horrible at it, but it's this artist right here.
Yildirim Sinyar.
However you pronounce it, that's it right there.
Yildirim.
Yeah, to answer that question, Paulus.
Oh, that's what I was. I remember now. Jesus,
Okay.
man, it took me a hot minute.
Shoot.
The reason why,
Yeah.
what I just said before, leading up to what I'm about to say is that
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Marvel and DC, what they do is they strong arm the comic store saying, hey, if you want to buy these fucking variants, you need to
Right.
order 50 copies of this book, this issue, in order to get this variant of this and this variant of that. Image doesn't need to do that. And because they don't practice that, where it's screwing over a lot of the companies, a lot of the comic stores from even ordering to begin with, it puts them in good graces more so than what Marvel and DC constantly keeps doing. So when their sales that they achieve in 100,000 copies or more for their Spawn stuff, I think it goes into people just respect the company a lot more than what they do with Marvel and DC because of the known problems they keep causing.
No, I could agree with that. And I think they dropped the sale or the price of the book during COVID, right? And they never brought it back up. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what they did, and I have a lot of respect for that. That's one of the reasons why that price point. And I will say, they have to sell enough to the point where it's worth it to make it, because at $3.99, when everybody else is pushing,
No, they're
$5,
$2.99.
$6.
I thought this was $2.99.
Yeah, $2.99.
I'm sorry, my bad. $2.99. Yeah,
Yeah.
$2.99, $3, $2.99 when everybody else is pushing like $4,
Everybody got
$5,
$3,
$6.
bro.
You know, yeah. Like
Marvel's
that's
$5 now. It's fucking
It's-
crazy, dude.
It's also a number one issue, and then you're going to see a decline from number ones.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But like,
yeah.
if that many, like, I just feel like I don't know. I see a lot of people getting it. I see what you mean from the last artist to this artist. I picked up the same thing when I saw it at first. I was like, fuck, like very different style. It's
yeah.
definitely a drastic change from the last artist. And that's something like, a lot of people would have a problem with. Oh, and then the last page too, we missed the character reveal. So they showed that that character.
Yeah. Let me go
that
back.
they picked up from the
I got
the
distracted.
hit squad. That's the extra
Yeah.
20,000 a day fee.
Yeah.
Out of all the characters that they just dropped, I would say this isn't the strongest character for sure.
It's kind of a what would you say? Like the design is cool, but it's a stereotypical design.
Here, it'd be
What you got?
exactly like this kind of design.
similar, yeah.
Yeah,
Very
kinda
similar to
yeah,
that.
with the hood.
Like
yeah,
very
so
simple in a sense of like, oh, you just need to draw the arm, the arm thing and the eyes, like, and you can just usually use a lot of like shadow aspects for
yeah,
it.
and I'm assuming it's probably a character that's not going to resonate. It's just a
He's getting
super
murked.
powered villain that's going to be brought in, bounty hunter that Al's going to have to fight in the next issue.
Yeah,
and
hopefully
he'll
Al
probably
gets a
end up
nice
killing him.
kill.
Okay, so King Spawn 8, I can't find one, but King Spawn 8 sold 41,600 units,
Yeah.
Okay.
and that was March of 22.
Dude, I'd be crying from going 500,000 to 42 and 7
So
issues.
that's how
That's-
comics are, though. That's
Yeah,
that's the one.
and it's probably
Yeah.
sitting around 25,000 thousand copies. Like Batman is the number one selling book. That and Spider-Man. And
Yeah,
Oh,
they
no,
only-
no. Paul,
Okay,
Paul's
all
not
right, what do we
up. Paul's close.
All right.
Yes. Come back.
479,908 units
For what?
number
which
one.
one?
for
Number
King
one.
Spawn 1.
Okay. Yeah.
He's close. 500,000 is
So,
fucking a
but-
lot.
Issue ones have always been
Yeah.
boom, right? And then
I'm
it
trying to
always
hype
falls. But
him
that's
up,
just
guys.
that's the nature of the industry. That's the nature of the industry going back to whatever. I mean, even Walking
Right.
Dead had a precipitous fall from 1 to 2 to 3 before it caught wind and started getting more and more popular.
Well, that
during
only had a
time.
print run of like 5,000 or 7,000 at best.
Seriously, damn.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Like, look, a lot of these low tier books, like starting off, don't have that high of a print run.
But here's the thing: like, this is modern day comics, right? Like the numbers that we look at now as low comparative to what the industry was when we were growing up. With the popularity.
Yeah.
It's not that. It'll never be that, right?
No.
So it's like, what is the standard? You kind of got to come back down to earth and be like, all right, what is the top selling book that now becomes the standard, right? It might still be crazy low comparative to what it used to be, but that is what it is. So now
But
that is
Joe-
the standard now, what's everything else doing comparative to that standard as far as it making enough money to continue the series?
It's gotten to the point, like, where do you get comics now? Because a lot of these shops are closing. Like, the economy is killing.
Well, yeah,
My friend's
true.
shop just closed in Dobbs Ferry just last week.
Yeah.
Well, the LCSs are dying. There's no doubt
Happening
about
over
it.
here too.
So where do you get
Happening.
these? People are just waiting for trade paperbacks now. That's all they're waiting for.
That's a
Well, you
that's
know
a
what's
direction
the-
the industry is going.
It's a
There's
weird
also a lot of
matrix.
online stores you can buy stuff directly.
Yeah.
Whether they're comic book stores or they're just they're a middleman that buys the issues and sells them straight online. I think eventually the LCSs are going to be gone at some point. I mean, they're almost dead as it is, but there's
So,
always going
like-
to be a way, I think, to get these floppy books.
I definitely think a lot of stores, what they don't do, and that's what I do get some books from, is like, if you don't have an online store that ships to people's houses, you're being flawed, But a lot of people, or in a sense of like, a lot of comic shops would be like, okay, I'll call in and I'll say, I want 2 Batmans, 2 Spider-Mans, 2 Spawns, etc., and I'll rack up a $400 order for 4 weeks straight, and then I just never come in, bro. Every
Right.
other place charges you before, except for comic stores. I think
That's a good point. That's a
it's
good
the
point.
strangest thing.
Nope.
I just had to buy, it was the same thing. I just had to buy like rings for my wedding, and it was just like I paid there, I paid there. Like you're not like, hey, do everything, I'll be back in 2 weeks. No, you gotta pay, dude.
You got me.
Like,
that is a great point, because you get all the lists that you can put whatever you want on the list. I can go in there and put half the new books on my list,
dude.
And I have no real obligation to buy. I'll show up and be like, I'll buy these 2 today,
Yeah.
and that they can either be like, we're no longer having you on the list, but they can't force you to buy those books. Or if you go online, like when Spawn 350 was coming out, I wanted to make sure I got the Brett cover, and I knew that my LCS wasn't bringing it in because I already talked to them about it. So I went online, I pre-ordered, I bought it then, and made sure I got it. But yeah, I had to drop the money then to get that book. Maybe comic shops should be going in that direction and be like, you want a list, you need to guarantee a certain percentage of the sale so that they don't, it's the same thing with commissions, right? Like someone comes to a commission for me, like I want a certain amount to start it.
Yeah, unless you're like their best friend, like
right.
Like I'm always paying people up, even for my art stuff. I pay for these people mostly always up front too. It's like the model of, and that was actually one of the things, and I say it all the time on why I got into the industry, is just because I felt like nobody's selling anything. It's always like, the only one that's selling is the dealer that got the $10,000 book that you want to buy, but excluding that, there's no one really trying to sling. And like that's just like the business mindset. Like no other business would let that get away. And I would assume that'd be why too, because I knew a store that they closed because of that. There were so many people making orders and just not picking them up. But their thing is not like, hey, let's charge these people, despite laws or what. I know that maybe it might be rules in certain states, but at the same day, if they can't do that, but the guy who mails, you'll see the guys that do the mailing list with the special covers, and they send all their shit out. So, but teach his own.
So to wrap this up, as we're getting a little bit late in this issue, Al Simmons in his human form apparently goes and sees this angel guy and basically lays it out and says, I got your son. Bad things are going to happen to your son if you keep coming after my family. And this guy was like, if I don't get my son back, I'll kill your family. He's like, fine, if you kill my family, I'm going to kill your son. So it's kind of like this stalemate that they've got going on. And he leaves this place, and instantly we get introduced to this character. I don't think we know its name yet. The character's name from the laptop that they hired to go get him.
The hoodie.
Yeah, he's back in the green hoodie, and he has no powers, and he changes outfits in half a second like Superman. That was my only problem.
Where did he store that?
And that's what I was wondering. Like, so we know that from the original or the main title that his suit still has a little bit of
guys in the back fucking putting on the fucking shoulder caps in this fucking dark alley.
Yeah. So I'm like, either the suit disguises this because it still has a little bit of power left, or it is like you said, a Superman change. All in all,
Shazam. He goes Shazam.
Right. Yeah. All in all, kind of odd, And here's the thing coming up with where I was.
He goes Wanda.
Yeah, dude. He's obsessed with Wanda.
I was extremely confused about what's going to happen next, even though it was pretty cool. I'm just like, I have no idea where this came from or if it's ever going to be mentioned in the main book. And that's where this dude corners him in this alleyway or, tracks him down, jumps down, confronts him. Al comes back out, full Spawn gear back on. And then he all of a sudden pops these wings.
He stapled them on.
I love it. Dude. I love it.
Honestly. I know what Jay's probably going to say, but I loved it. I thought this was cool because this is one of those things visually wise, again, fun books. That's all I'm looking for. Something fun to get me to be like, oh shit, what the fuck?
I'm in the shop. Let's go.
Yeah. I was confused by it. Don't get me wrong. Cause I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on, but I was like, but at the same time, it's kind of cool. And he even says, he's like, the vampire I borrowed these from. And I'm like, so how did you borrow the wings and now they're your wings? I don't know. It's going to be something I need to be explained going forward. But visually wise, I was just like, hell yeah, like sweet, bring it on. Like I like the over the top aspect of the storytelling of the universe right now, where we're upping the ante, right? The main book is great. It keeps doing what it's doing, fun every single month. We got some hits, some misses when it comes to some of the mini series. And then the rest of the main titles, you get into, and to me, I just look at it, I was like, okay, this is fun. Like this is to me 15 minutes of entertainment to read. I flip through the book, I cruise through it. It's a fast-paced read, and it's just kind of, it's cookie cutter is not the word I want to say. It's like Michael Bay in the 90s, right? You're watching a fun action movie where the story isn't really that deep, but it's fun. It's entertaining.
But
Go
it
ahead.
shows
Jay.
that ass.
It was a great Blade book. I mean, a great Spawn book. And like when I saw this, I was like, oh, okay, they're going King Null here. This is exactly what they're going with, because King Null has this kind of moment in the Venom series, and it's kind of like, oh, really? Like everyone's gonna start doing this?
No, I think the whole point is like I saw it coming from a mile away. They're not gonna let him not have powers because he needs to lose. Like he needs to get stabbed. He needs to get shot. Like otherwise, it's like okay, he's the best at everything. So like now that he's a vampire, you're gonna see him get shot up in the stomach. You're gonna see him. You know,
he already was like in 36.
Yeah,
stapled and stitched, and
but that's why
and
I think they
cauterized.
captured the vampire. They captured that vampire. They probably extracted him to bite him and change him.
But
and then
but
boom.
why? Like
Why
there's
not?
no need for it.
Because it's cool, dude. It's cool.
Is it?
Dude. I like it.
I have to say I like it too. I was down when I saw this page. I was like, it was intriguing enough to be like, oh, sweet. Like, all right, I'm gonna tune in next week, so to speak, to see what the hell this is about. Because coming back from the main book, he doesn't have wings in the main book, or maybe they'll introduce it. I don't know. So I want to know, like, how the hell does he have wings? So it's a cliffhanger mystery, which is kind of what you want to do to end the book. The main book does that all the time with these cliffhangers.
I'm going to my room. Don't bug me when I'm in my room.
I told you not to bug me when I'm vacuuming in my room. No, I liked it. I liked it. I'm interested, jumping into these arts, Scorched, King Spawn. I gotta dive back into Gunslinger and find out what's going on, because I want to, cover that here as we go forward as well. Just again, the Spawn review. I want to cover the main stories of what's going on, keep everybody up to date that tunes into this. We are going to have our difference of opinions when it comes to the story, when it comes to art, when a lot of stuff. I think everyone's always in 100% agreement that the main book is absolutely amazing. And we're going to be covering the newest issue of the main book next week. So don't miss out on that. That's going to be very, very fun.
You know what the problem is when you start doing this with the main character, it looks desperate. That's the problem. And I think with the Al Simmons, you needed to capture it because he didn't have his powers. You could have gone more of the Punisher route, and because he's street level, you could have had it like more of a grittier scene, him trying to make his way through all this. But when you start doing vampires and everything, it just seems like they're just getting desperate and trying to do tropey things.
See, I like the vampire aspect of it, but I like vampires,
I love it.
I think that's what it is. Like it could be tropey in certain aspects that you look at it, but it's also like, well, what do people enjoy? There's a reason why there's so many vampire movies, and there's so many movies about these characters and these characters, because people resonate with them. They get drawn to those kind of the lore of those characters. I like the aspect that they brought the vampires into the Spawn universe when they did. I can't remember what issue that was when it actually happened, but I like the fact that you did something. And we talked about it in the main book, right, Jay? When
I like that arc. I like that arc, but don't put it onto the main character, because then it takes away.
Oh, you mean don't make him a vampire?
Yeah, don't make him a vampire, because it takes it away.
Well,
it takes it.
All right. Sorry.
Go ahead,
I was I just wanted to add that into what Jay was saying. He's like, don't put that on the main character. So like, the motherfucker's a demon. He's been a demon for like 350 issues or so. Why? I'm curious to find out what mixing vampirism into a demon with that, what that little mixture would, what would that be as a result of? Because you see hybrids come,
Well, we saw what happened with mixing vampires and an angel.
Yeah,
we get the Reaper, which is a really cool outcome of that.
I'm just saying that, like, they have, Todd, for some reason, hasn't disappointed me in a major way when it came to something. I'm like, oh, well, here we go. This is fucking stupid. I'm out. Right? There's always a weird ass twist. Now, granted, can it get overplayed? Like, is he like, doing it a little bit too much? Or like, oh, I'll get to the fucking point, like, milking it? Absolutely. The whole battle between heaven and hell has finally ended, at 350, basically.
Right.
For the fight for the throne. Yeah, exactly. So, but honestly, dude, I think the payoffs are just great. And if they're going to do this whole vampire thing, which at the beginning, I wasn't quite a fan of, honestly. Vampires aren't really my thing, but I do like what they're they're coming around with these characters like Tremor, bringing Wind back. They're obviously setting some big pieces up for something big. So I'm really interested to see what's going to go on with that. And if he's got some vampire in him, maybe he's going to like transform into something. I don't fucking know.
So this is what I'll say about this, putting a wrap on this issue here, which I did like. But he said, he specifically says here, you want to fight, let's go. And when I'm done with you, I'll show you what happened to the vampire I borrowed these from. So I don't think he's a vampire. I don't think he's like this cross now where he was bitten, now he's a vampire demon. I think whatever he did found a way to be able to like absorb those wings or absorb that power for a second, or to find a way to actually use that vampire's wings as opposed to becoming an actual vampire himself, which makes me interested to be like, all right, how did that happen? How were they able to make that happen? And how is that going to affect this fight going forward or the story going forward? And are we going to see that in the main book at some point? So as that aspect goes, I think it's a cool cliffhanger to this issue. I'm intrigued. Is it my favorite compared to the main book? No, but the main book to me is just stellar. The main book to me is untouchable right now. So everything else underneath it is to me just entertainment, right? Just give me some, like Paul was saying, this is the side stories version of what's going on with the main story arc. We're just telling some side stories. Might not always make sense or how it fits in continuity wise, but then again, that's comic books. Hail Lore said, send Spawn to another realm. Fighting space. That's not what I wanted. Sorry, this is what I wanted to bring up. Nope, this is what I want to bring up. Sorry, I was trying to keep track of the chat, and I get a couple comments. Anyway, vamps are lower level compared to what he's already dealt with. I think what makes the vampire story arc good is that they are a lower level threat, right? They took a lower level threat, and now they made them the top threat because everybody lost their powers, and they did a complete flipping inverse of everything that's going on. And so now you took like the weaker threat and they are now like the main threat. I like that storytelling.
Joe, again, what's fucking weird is that nobody knows anything about what Nyx is doing. Who's
right,
to
that's
say
the
that
overall
Nyx
mystery.
Exactly. Who's to say that Nyx doesn't have something working with blood to some capacity? I'm really curious to see what her fucking like big master plan of like
the
what
master plan is as soon as she kills blood, a portal opens. That's gonna be exactly what goes down, dude. It'll be like when she walks out. Like it's
you heard it here, folks.
Well, and we talked about that, right? With fuck, what's her name? Not Angela.
Not Angela.
The fuck is her name?
Angela and She-Haunt.
Somebody help me out here. I always forget it.
Sean.
Oh my god, I can't even think of her name now.
I made everybody forget.
She's the coolest designed character of the new characters.
Yeah,
it's
one of all. She's all our favorite new character. Like we really dig her. But if Jay can remember, if anybody can remember.
It's
but
something
that
like
character,
Luna, not Luna, but it's like something like that. That's some kind of Greek or Norse mythology kind of name. It's
While we're all thinking that, if they can go the next level,
Lyra, thank you.
Yes.
If they can go next level with the vampire, like I hope he's like grabbing him, throwing him through fucking windows and shit with the fucking flying wings. Like I definitely
want to see
go the next.
I do want to see his power come back at some point. Like I like the ground level aspect, but like that's never really been the character. Like it's cool to have a story arc where he's depowered like this, but I do would like to see him come back and have some more epic battles. But I do believe that's we talked about it. I think that's where we're headed. And you look at the main story. Spawn's going to help Lyra kill Blood. They're going to wrap up that storyline, and then we're going to be introduced into the next big story arc, which is going to lead us to Nyx, or it's going to involve Nyx, or whatever. We're going to finally get some details. To me, I think Blood is like this filler bad guy at this chess piece guy. Like he's got a mastermind of this plan.
Oh, he's playing both sides. He sat there and let the war happen, and now he's trying to capitalize on the aftermath. What they're realizing now is eventually the powers are going to come back, and he wants to get a hold of as much as he can before that happens and be that top dog. So it's a good storytelling arc, because eventually we're going to have a 3-way war eventually
Right.
come back, and that's
gonna
going
be
to lead
epic.
to a lot of
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see. There's a lot of players we haven't seen that disappeared, and I haven't been reading all the titles, so I don't know if they popped back up. But we haven't seen the Clown Violator, we haven't seen Sin.
Violator
Since
died.
is he dead?
No, he'll be
should
back
be
by
dead.
Okay, I was just gonna say
Yeah, pretty
He'll
much.
have 2 heads or something,
right,
like,
yeah.
right,
He'll be
right.
back, but like, there's a lot of players we haven't seen yet. They really slowed it down and put a main focus on this, and they're dragging it out. Oh, dude, I still don't have
Hell
that. Man.
yeah.
I gotta read
dude.
that still.
Dude, what
Yeah.
a great fucking read. What
You
a
guys like
great
that?
That is a cover.
Oh, I love
that.
it.
Is a cover.
That is a badass cover. Yeah, hell yeah.
Todd one's pretty banging.
I think Kayla's gonna send me a copy of it because for some reason I still don't have it at the LCS unless it's still coming. Because I know that Thomas said that there was a mistake, right, where they came out a couple weeks early in certain places. So my store doesn't have it. What's up, man?
Blow me up.
Do what to you?
Phrase
Maybe
it.
Blow you.
Oh, yeah. Lube me up.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
Wizard number 11. Look at that.
Oh, yes, dude.
Wow.
Hells yeah.
Yes.
Classic.
This
I
was
gotta be honest with you. The fucking
or-
classic cover still stands as
That's
my
awesome.
favorite
That's
costume.
badass, brother.
This was
Love
a birthday gift or one of many from Kayla. I haven't cracked it open yet because I'm just like, I don't know if I want to.
it. Right.
Like, I don't want to ruin the
Fingerprints on it.
spine. Yeah, but this is
Dude, that's awesome.
this was
Just be very careful when you open it. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
But so what I do want to say about Spawn though is that whether you like or you don't like the stories that's in any of the Spawn variation titles,
Yeah.
each one of them are still good enough that like if Spider-Man like has like 20 things 20 titles right now out there, and all of them fall flat on their ass, and it's been like that for all these characters, like all the evergreen characters and Marvel, DC, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Spawn isn't like that, dude. Like Spawn has always kicked ass. Like Curse of the Spawn, I think it was Hell Spawn was another title. Regular Spawn,
Right.
and then you get the whole Spawn universe. Every single thing that's been going on with this character has always been a kick-ass thing. Now, whether you, like I said, Jay, whether you like something that's in it or not, it is not as bad as what you're seeing in the mainstream stuff. That's always been a fluctuating up and down. With Spawn, it's never been like that. It's always kind of been steady, but it's, in my opinion, I think it's still climbing up.
There's been lots of times.
wow.
And there's been lots of times throughout the history of Spawn where I'll admit, like from issue 100 to issue 300, there's a lot of stuff where I would dip and I didn't pay attention because I would go to the store, I'd see what they're doing, it didn't resonate with me, or I didn't like the artist, and I wasn't following it, So there's tons of stuff where Spawn has gone up and down with things that you like, the things you don't like, but it definitely seemed to have that longevity. And Spawn is just that character, It seems to resonate with everybody.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that you didn't. Like, I know, like with Greg and whatever, you dipped out, but like that Angel Medina run was fucking.
Yeah, I missed that.
That was fire. That was fire.
Yeah.
That was my bad. Like, I should have stuck around to
Right.
follow that run, but like I was so into Greg that I was so sad when he left the book that I was just kind of like, I can't do it. I can't continue on and just give the next guy a chance because I'm just gonna want Greg's art.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out, Jimmy. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, I got progress on the haunt thing.
I was just gonna say, we're gonna get out of here pretty soon, but I want to see how you're.
This is what I got so far.
Nice,
man.
I'm gonna do a lot of the tendrils, kind of going all over the place.
That looks really good,
black.
dude.
Yeah,
but right now I'm focusing on the face, trying to get
face
that.
Looks great.
But
yeah,
like so, I promise this is gonna get done before next week, so you guys can see it. I know Paul is dying to fucking see the finished look. I'm dying to get it done. I just been busy with a lot of commission stuff that I'm.
I don't want your excuses.
Sorry.
A lot of excuses. For that there.
No,
do better.
excuses.
Do better, Zach. Come on.
I know.
Do better.
I know.
You better
Right?
guy.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, though, we are creators on this show. We do have books. Reaper Destroyer is my book. We did hit the 1,250 mark, backer mark the other day, which I was very excited about. We are getting this book out here damn soon, so be on the lookout for it. Hopefully in the next couple months. the whole fulfillment thing is gonna be a brand new thing for me. So be patient. I'm gonna try to get stuff out as fast as I can. But it's just basically gonna be me and my wife for the most part, unless I get some help from some other people that join in, which I'll be very grateful for. But if you like Spawn, you like the darkness, you like the dark anti-hero stuff that we talk about on this show and this channel in general, you're gonna love this book. Very much in the mold of that, except very much to stand out from that kind of storytelling. Like I didn't want to be a rip off of Spawn, another heaven versus hell kind of character, to be just kind of like Spawn-esque. Like this is got everything elements you'd want from art, storytelling wise, but it's a very unique story when you get into it. It's about a man who's trapped inside a supernatural suit of armor inhabited by an ancient spirit of death who's trying to possess his soul. But there is so much more to it. You're gonna dig it. I'm very proud of this book. I haven't gone into too much details. Thank you, man, of the story, because I want you to get this and really read it. And once we do, we're gonna dive into actually where we're going, because there's a lot of stuff in the issue that I don't want to spoil. They're setting up the rest of the ongoing series that we're doing. So definitely check it out. Links are below for that.
For a guy who doesn't fucking read, he can sure as hell write. It's one of the best books I've read in like years. It's fucking good. I know I've been promoting it on my channel, and a lot of people are looking for it. Same with Sean with his book. A lot of people have been like wanting to buy the book. So if you haven't got it, then what the fuck are you doing? Go out there and get the book.
I like that.
Do it.
I like that. I do like
that.
that.
Stupid if you don't buy this book.
Yeah.
I like.
Don't be a bum.
Yeah, don't be a bum. Back Type 1. Speaking of Type 1, Sean's book Type 1 is rocking and rolling here. Sean.
Yeah, man. If you like characters and stories like the Guyver and Spawn as well, with Bloodstrike and Tekken Man Blade and all awesome 80s and 90s properties.
Yes.
With horrific mythical logical elements from the Mayan and Aztec lore and a hyper-realistic sense of storytelling with a sense of heart, this book's for you. Find out why the mysterious Type 1 armor chose Thomas the Heart and what connection it has to the 9 Lords of the Night and the lore of Thoth and the Anunnaki created safeguard armors centuries ago to protect us from the gods and false gods and beyond, all on the pages of Type 1. So don't be a bum. That Type 1.
And I want to say something about this because I had the opportunity to read, I think it was the first 15 pages, Sean.
Yeah,
the preview. It was more than that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and the dude knows how to do dialogue. That's for damn sure. One of the better written dialogues. No, and I'm being, you know me, I'm honest. And Paul, actually, I just reviewed your book. So like, I look for anything that, stands out that's good and positive. And I'm really excited for Sean's book because it does bring that. I want to say it brings out like kind of a John Byrne vibe. Like it has that. Wow. It has that kind of vibe to it, dude. It's a combination of Deadpool and Iron Man, like I said before, and it works really, really well in this book, man. And I'm really, really proud
there's a twist to that. We'll find out later, but I like where you're going with that, though. That's cool. I appreciate that.
No, that's high praise. Paul, I need to get links so we can actually bring up do you have any current project going on right now? Or are you in between projects? I know you were talking about some things coming down the line.
Yeah, so we do have our upcoming Kickstarter that's coming out, but that I just put it in the private chat, the link to my website. I have all my books on there. If you order it, I ship them out in 2 to 3 days, and then we'll go from there. We have 8 published works on Visual Vibration, which is Project Naosis. So in the year 2090, a speedster named Crimson Pain rises up and kills off all the superheroes in existence. So the government makes a super enhanced team called Project Naosis to fight off the rebellion. It's super action-packed, no multiverse or do-overs. I'm the writer and publisher and have amazing artists that work for me. We have one-shots. We have mini-series. Our next Kickstarter is going to be the biggest, and then I'm dropping some big news this week as well. Hopefully, I'll be able to bring it up next week.
Yes, news coming.
May I say something about your book? Or because I got to read his book, and it was the most adrenaline-packed book. I was just like, holy shit, you don't even get a chance to breathe in this book, and it's really, really good. Because I was like, kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but it is fantastic, really good. And I'm looking forward to reading the other books of the character depth. Really well done, really, really well done. Bravo, bud.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And then if you whoa, look at that.
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't dove into it just yet, but I'm looking forward
Mine
to it.
are upstairs as well.
Yeah.
Omega
hell yeah.
2090, that's our prequel series. It's our main hero, Omega, the guy in the front right. Before he gets his superpowers and he goes face to face with the
Okay.
super
All
speedster
right.
monster.
So we
Yeah.
get depth. That's the character depth you're talking about.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
at this. We got this. We got the
Nice.
trade.
Oh yeah.
We
Fuck
got the
yeah.
trade paperback. It's our first 4 issues, 0,
Hell
1, 2, and
yes.
3. That covers by Julian Shaw. All those covers. So anything that's if it's just there, if they don't show an option of cover A, cover B, all the guys that do my cover A's do my interiors. So if you're saying, wow, that art's cool, it's gonna be the same fucking shit that's inside.
Nice.
Because that
The
is my
story's
biggest
cool.
problem, and I wear it on a sleeve.
The story's cool. Again, very well written, man. Like good dialogue, good storyline. It keeps you engaged the whole book. So that's all.
Yeah,
that's what you want from a reader.
We're getting so episode 5. So we just dropped episode 4. So our campaign ended in July. We shipped all those books out already. I have 1 page left of lines and inks of the episode 5, and we're done.
Nice.
I do 100% of this book before we ever release it on Kickstarter, so you know that you're guaranteed your books.
That's awesome.
Because
That is awesome.
God knows, like something can happen to my artist or something. Some books take longer than others, so.
Oh, absolutely.
Facts.
Follow the creators and the books that we have on the show, guys. We have some very, very talented people on the show, in the chats as well. It's a pleasure to spend every Monday with you guys. Jay, what's going on with you? I know you've got a channel there that just keeps on blowing up, and you're just a popular motherfucker. You're all over the place.
No, I know. Well, this is my 5th stream today.
Exactly.
So
somebody brag about it.
Yeah, I'm inching closer to 16,000.
What?
We just had a 16,000 subs. We just had about 100 memberships bought last night. There was an issue with membership. We had a great show last night. Late night with Gooch and Gang. It was super fun. This week on Late Night with Gooch, we have Sammy. It's his birthday, and our special guest is Sassy Sasquatch. The following week, we got Steph from Geeks and Gamers, and then the week after, we have Bone Bridger, and then the week after that, I think J3PO and X-Wing.
Oh, wow.
We got a lot of really cool guests coming on along. Tuesdays, we have we're reviewing Invincible right now. On Tuesday, we're doing episode 5 and 6 of season 2. Wednesday, Diabolical Wednesdays. It's usually Badger, myself, and Sammy. Sammy won't be there this week, so it's going to be me and Badger and maybe a special guest. And Thursday, we're going to be reviewing Uzumaki episode 1. Unreal animation, art, and storyline. I'm really excited to dive into that. So, and then, it's been insane. It's been crazy. I'm really, really, really thankful. I love this show. Joe and Sean know how much I love them. I feel I've kind of let you guys down, and I'm saying I apologize online.
It's okay.
On the
Just
air.
do better. Just do better.
I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do better. I've like I've said from day one, I'm trying to build something special, and I promote your books on the channel.
Yeah, you have in the past 2 years I've known you. In the year that you said
great.
that you planned this all out with everything that went going on, like you're fucking far and behind exceeding your what I thought you could do. It's fucking beautiful to see.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
Just get your goddamn book out there. That's all I ask.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think I might have to change my book because I had a female antagonist or protagonist, and there's so many girl bosses out there. It's flooding like movies, series, books. So I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it because it's everywhere and it's not done very well. And I just don't want to put out a book with a female lead and be labeled a girl boss, and that's not the case. But
why don't you just get with the times? Get a biologically born female that's now looking like a
yeah, assist.
Be cool, dude. Be a cool guy.
Yeah.
Hell Lore said he just dropped a new video on his channel. Everybody go check that out. Sub to his channel as well. He's one of the big guys that's always in our chats. Moderator as well. We appreciate you. So everybody, if you're watching this now, or you're watching this after recording, go check that out for sure.
Also, sorry, Joe.
No.
Next Wednesday, that guy over there is going to be having an art auction on my channel. We're going to be doing about 2 hours or so. We're going to be selling all his art pieces. Yeah, that guy,
Zach.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Yeah, you there, mutthead. We're going to be October 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to be selling all the pieces for auction. We had one already. This one's going to be a lot of fun. So drop by if you want a piece. He's got some fantastic pieces there. Like, holy shit.
Hopefully that guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
banging them out, and it's unreal. So please swing by and buy a piece.
Hell
Of Zack.
yes. We will be going right over to Appreciating Comic Book Art Live. We're going to be looking at some of Brett Booth's early work in the book called The Kindred. So join us there. If you're in the chat right now, stick there. It'll automatically take you there. We'll be there in a few minutes after we take a little bit of a break. But we're going to jump out of here. Thank you for joining the first hour of the Comic Block. Thursday, we will have Ott and stuff. We have Chris Graves and Mark Polton from Ride and Pain that just dropped book 2. Miss Rena is going to come on as well. We got some interesting subjects we're going to talk about.
Fun
some
shit.
things that popped up. So join us. It's going to be fun. And that's it. So as always, be good to each other. Take care of one another. And as always, picture me naked. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
What the hell are you? Spawn. You sent me to hell, Jason. I'm here to return the favor. I'm feeling strange, drowned in the grave.